Okay, hello everyone, and welcome back to Common English Mistakes. Don't just learn, improve. So today we're going to look at two structures which sometimes students confuse, and then go into more detail for one of these structures and the different ways you can use it. So anyway, the mistake is up here. It is a lot of traffic today. So just pause the video, try to correct the sentence. And well done if you said there is a lot of traffic today. So to say something exists, we're going to say there is for singular uncountable, there is a lot of traffic, or there are for plurals. There are a lot of parks in my city. In the past, there was, there were. There was a flood last month, singular. There were a lot of people at the party, plural. Whereas it, generally we're using for things. So for example, I bought a new car, it's amazing. Or I visited Buenos Aires, it's a beautiful city. But we can also use it with what's called the empty it, when it doesn't really refer to anything in particular. Usually this is weather or time. It's raining today, or it's getting late, we should leave. But we can also use it with adjectives plus to infinitive. For example, it's important to exercise regularly. And then some passive phrases involving what people say. For example, it is argued that life was better before. It must be said that all the team worked hard. Just be careful again if you're a Spanish or Portuguese speaker, because we don't say this. It is needed more hospitals, like you do in your language. Here, always make the thing the subject and say more hospitals are needed. So going back to there is, there are, generally I find the problem with this as a teacher is that you learn it quite early on because it's important. There is, there are, there was, there were. But generally, students don't study the other tenses, the other forms of this structure. So for example, with present perfect, there has been, contract, there's been. In Scottish detective shows, they're always saying, there's been a murder. When it's plural, you can say, there have been, but there has been is also fine in common usage. So, there have been, there has been a lot of problems recently. You can also contract to there've been. That's very colloquial, very spoken. When it's continuous, we just put the ing form after the object. So for example, there is a concert happening at the moment. Past continuous, there was a concert happening earlier. And also our futures. For example, will future, there will be an exam next week. Or going to future, look at those clouds, there is going to be a storm. Again, with the plural, there is going to, there are going to, both work fine. And finally, it's unlikely you're going to use past perfect, but you might. There had been problems even before the company went bankrupt. But as we've seen in other videos, it's more likely you're going to have to use past perfect with another structure. For example, wishes. I wish there had been more time. Or third conditional. If there had been more time, we would have visited Sagrada Familia. So make sure you know these structures automatically. Because what I find is, generally students know and feel comfortable with there is, there are, there was, there were, but have problems when they have to say things exist with these more advanced structures. Just make sure you know the negatives, which is quite easy because you're just making the first verb negative. So, there isn't, there aren't, there wasn't, there weren't, there hasn't been, there haven't been, there won't be, there isn't going to be, aren't going to be, and there hadn't been. And finally, make sure you know and feel comfortable with how to ask questions, because we use this a lot in the real world. Nice and easy. For yes/no questions, we're just inverting the subject there and the first verb. So for example, is there, are there, was there, were there, has there been, have there been, will there be, is there going to be, are there going to be, and had there been. And of course, it's the same for open questions. We just need a question word before. So for example, what is there in your city? When will there be a test? And why have there been so many strikes recently? So that's the explanation over. Once again, if you haven't done so already, do make sure to like and subscribe. A lot of good stuff coming out soon and a new video every couple of days. When you're ready, let's practice and improve. Just pause the video and complete the following sentences with either the empty it or a there structure, depending on the situation and the tense that you need. And well done. If you said for the first one, it is widely regarded that cheese is bad for you. It is widely regarded that, useful expression to basically say most people think. You can use it in writings. There is a nice cafe near my house. Here we need the future. We can use either. There won't be, there isn't going to be a lot of rain in July. And then it was sunny last weekend. Empty it for weather. I wish there was an open air swimming pool near my house. Wish plus past simple for a present wish. You can check out my other video for that later. And finally, recently, unfinished, we need the present perfect. So there has been a lot of inflation recently. So now just pause the video and write, say, or discuss the same sentences for you. And finally, today's question, what do you wish there had been while you were growing up? So do write your answers in the comments, guys. Great opportunity to practice a quite advanced structure. Other than that, make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in another video in the next couple of days. Until then, see ya.